Number 1,476,293, please. Yes, just come right up and have a seat. Welcome to the afterlife. I do hope that your journey to get here wasn't too painful, that whatever befell you, your demise that brought you to us wasn't too painful. If you don't mind my asking, how exactly did you end up here in the afterlife? Well, that's really kind of unique then, isn't it? That'll make a very interesting little paragraph in your introduction blurb. What is your introduction blurb? Well, we of course run the Afterlife newspaper, and we always announce new arrivals. We like to welcome new arrivals with an introductory blurb so that all the Afterlife readers can get to know who's coming into the Afterlife world. We just try to include a little basic information about everyone who's newly dead so that, anyone in the community here who might like to connect with you knows a little bit about you and, what kind of person you are, or were, whichever you prefer. Yeah, we keep them fairly short, just a little basic information. It's not so different from a living community. You just let everyone know a little bit about the neighbors, things like that when people move in. And it just kind of helps keep our afterlife community, well, for lack of a better word, lively, So we have a very lively afterlife community here, so hopefully you're interested in sharing a little bit and being part of that. You are? Great. Well, speaking of your afterlife blurb, why don't we get started on that? Can you verify the spelling of your name for me? Okay. And can you verify the spelling of your last name as well, please? Okay. And now tell me a little bit more about that unique demise. How exactly did that come about? Okay. And so was that before or after the storm? Okay. Were there other people involved in that, or was that just you? Okay. And to the best of your recollection, how long exactly have you been dead? Not everyone makes it down here right away, so as far as you know, how long have you been dead? Okay. And how old were you when you died? Okay. Do you have any relatives that you plan on haunting? Any friends or relatives that are still alive that you plan on haunting? Okay. And what is the residence that you are currently haunting? Okay. Do you have any hobbies or things that you enjoyed doing while you were alive that you might like to continue here in the afterlife? Okay. What are you going to miss most about living? I can understand that. That's always a very tasty meal, and unfortunately we have no use for food here in the afterlife, so I can understand that you'll be missing that. Is there Anything else that you would like our little Afterlife community to know that I should put in your welcoming blurb? Okay. Alright, that's great. I'm going to need a picture for the blurb so that people can recognize you when they see you here. So, let's see if you could just give me a nice pose that you'd like everyone to recognize you with. Right there. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So let me just mark down that I have the photographs. Alright, so we'll get that sent off to print, and that should go out in this evening's edition. If anyone wants to contact you, what would be a good place to do that? Okay. Okay, now on to some of the more administrative things. The house that you are currently in, let's see. Yes, the house that you are currently in, that is where you are going to be spending the next 150 years. Your parameters are the house itself, so you do not have access to the grounds outside. You will be strictly regulated to staying inside the house. Should you leave the house for any reason, you will end up in a different dimension, and there's a lot of nasty things in that dimension that, believe me, you won't want to deal with. So I do recommend that you stay inside the house within the boundaries of your haunting. And so that will be for the next 150 years. Let me just double check. I stand corrected. The next 145 years, you will be in that house, haunting that house, and you can use any methods that you find necessary. You are perfectly allowed to scare out the living. We do have rules against interacting too much with the living. We don't want you to give them proof of the afterlife, so you will have to keep your haunting to, just spooky little things that they can't totally verify, so just the more you practice, the more you'll understand, so. But yes, you'll be there for 145 years, and after that time is up, you'll be able to come back here, and we'll get you set up for your next life. Reincarnation, yes. After you're done haunting that current residence for 145 years, your haunting session will be over, and you will come back here and be reincarnated in a new life, and we'll take you through all the specifics. You can pick out where you want to go and who you want your parents to be, things like that, and there'll be a lot of different things on the form to fill out that you might want to choose for your next life, but you've got 145 years to worry about that, so by the time that time gets here, I'm sure you'll have some idea of what you want your next life to be like. So, now, every new death comes with a manual. This is the handbook for the recently deceased. Why don't you take that? And we recommend that you read all the way through it. There is a great chapter on haunting in there, so as you were asking questions about that, I would definitely recommend reading through that chapter, and it will tell you pretty much everything you need to know about what is and is not allowed in haunting and best practices, things like that. Yeah, it does read a little bit like stereo instructions, but once you really get into it, I think you're really going to pick it up pretty quickly. It's not as hard to understand as you might think at first, so just give it a go, read through it cover to cover. A few times is probably best to make sure you get all the important information there, and that should answer most of your questions. Additional help? Yes, you do receive 3 D90 help vouchers, and that's 3 for the entire 145 years in which you're haunting the house. But you can fill out one of those help vouchers if you have something that you can't find in the manual, or if you get into a situation that you can't handle on your own. Basically, when you need some heavy additional help, you can fill out one of your help vouchers, and that will be submitted to your caseworker, and the caseworker will decide if you actually need help, if you deserve help, and if help is available to you. But again, you only have 3 of those D90 vouchers, so I would recommend saving those for actual emergencies. 3 vouchers over 145 years. You want to make sure that you're stretching out using them. You don't want to use them all up in the first year of your death, otherwise you're spending the next 144 years with no help. I would definitely recommend, as I said, reading through the manual several times, and most anything that you run into can be solved with a little help from the manual. The voucher should be saved for something a little more serious. And let me just check and see if they've assigned a caseworker to you yet. Yes, they have. So, should you find yourself in need of a D90 help form, just come back here and we can give you the form and you can fill that out and we'll submit that to your caseworker for evaluation, okay? Do you have any other questions before you go? Yes, if you walk down the hall that way, when you come to the 3rd door on the left, just walk through that and you'll be back in your house. And you've been here roughly 3 months, so things may look a little different. There may be some humans moved in, something like that, but that will of course give you the opportunity to practice your haunting skills. Again, read the chapter on haunting and that should answer all your questions about that, okay? Okay, well, if that's all, then why don't you just head down the hall and we'll get your introductory blurb in the paper in this evening's edition, and you can make yourself at home in the community, though of course you are not able to leave the house unless it's to come back here, so. And put it on your calendar. In 1 month, we are having a little party for all the new arrivals. The party's going to be a little dead, but, you know, it should still be fun. So if you'd like to, you can come back here and join us for that, okay? In the meantime, welcome to the Afterlife. We're glad to have you. Hopefully we don't see you again too soon, because we like to know that you're adjusting well to your new circumstances. But should you need us, we are always here. So have a lovely rest of your day, okay? Okay.